So I think Dream was just, it just symbolises the kind of, I guess, the game we wanted to make, and we wanted like a fairy tale-esque magical element to it, so kind of Dream just seemed like a reasonable code name at the time.
Dream was my first game, and it was on the Super NES, and it was a RPG.
We thought we could take the graphic technology we developed for Donkey Kong and then kind of apply that to a different type of game. Being as we were kind of all fans of RPGs and adventure games, we thought, oh, could we create like that kind of game using the graphics you see in Donkey Kong?
And it was supposed to be a step beyond Donkey Kong Country in terms of graphical fidelity. I have to say, it did look amazing at the time.
It wasn't a side-scrolling game, it was kind of isometric in a way. You ran into the screen.
I certainly remember playing lots of Japanese RPGs at the time. Some of the LucasArts point-and-click adventures, which I really liked as well, so we kind of thought we could kind of make a combination of those games and give it the rare flavour.
You played Edson, a young lad with a sword. I did some troll characters, and they were kind of troll-like, green things.
The main bad guys, which are the pirates, and they got this grand scheme. There was this rare material, I think it was called floaty. They got this kind of vision of building a pirate ship that could fly, so they thought they could kind of conquer the lands better if their pirate ship didn't have to bother going around on the sea. So they were going to kind of get all of this floaty by fair means or foul and actually create themselves a flying pirate ship. So it was a bit of a weird story.
We had Dinger, which was his kind of pet dog that he finds at the beginning of the game.
The kind of dog can do things the boy can't, like it kind of scampers off ahead and maybe goes like digging into kind of rabbit holes and then kind of comes out with objects that it's found down here. It had its own mind and it could do its own things, and it felt like the dog was going to have almost all the abilities, and the main character was like limited in comparison. So we wanted to kind of fold all the abilities back onto a single character.
The last thing we had was a ginormous dinosaur that you only ever saw the foot. Then the camera would start to shake and you'd see leaves falling, and then that would be your warning that the dinosaur was coming past. Then this massive foot came slamming down and you had to avoid it. Shortly after that, we sort of upped and moved on to N64.
We switched attention from kind of the old machine, which was on its way out, to kind of the new promising technology.
That last Super NES cartridge became a thing of legend, so if anyone ever finds that, that'll be worth a few quid on eBay.
A decision was made to move across to the Nintendo 64, which had just been released. And I joined the team at that point, and we spent about 16 months working on it.
We had several iterations of the game. The kind of the fairy tale-esque element gradually got replaced by something that we wanted a slightly harder edge to it. We felt that it wouldn't appeal to a wide enough audience, where we didn't want it to be too childish.
Wrote a lot of editors, put a lot of trees down, but we couldn't quite get a hook of a game.
Over a period of time, the kind of fairy tale-esque element and the Land of Giants kind of went away and got replaced by the pirate, kind of a piratey theme, which we felt was we could still have a lot of fun with it, rare style, but it had that kind of broad appeal, kind of slightly more mature feel.
It still had some of the elements that we had in Dream, but it was much more, it was a big, sprawling kind of an RPG.
Over the period of time, we kind of brought a kind of a cast of pirates into the game as bad guys, and that was kind of where Captain Black Eye was the main bad guy. And then kind of Edson, over this time, kind of started to lose his relevance. It's like almost the world was changing around him, and we still had this like young guy with a wooden sword. We started exploring alternatives to a boy.
So there was a point at which Edson went from being Edson and he was replaced with Banjo.
Initially we had a rabbit for some reason. I really have no idea why we picked a rabbit.
But he could have been a rabbit. Should have been a rabbit.
It just looked like a man in a suit.
It would have been Bunny Kazooie or something.
Then we kind of hit upon the idea of kind of having a bear, giving it kind of humanoid qualities. So we didn't want it to be like an animal that crawled around on all fours, kind of a tough-looking kind of character. And he had his backpack because that's where he was going to put all his stuff. Obviously, being his own adventure game.
You know, over the weeks and months, it was too big a thing for us to be doing at that time. It all sort of started to change quite dramatically.
It was just simply too ambitious.
It kind of changed into something that we were more familiar with, which was a kind of a 2.5D It still had some of the elements that we had in Dream, but it was much more turning into a kind of more like Donkey Kong Country was. It was sort of side on, and it was gameplay that we were better suited to do.
We really liked the bear, we really liked the character, so we thought, can we come up with another game that we feel more confident we can build in a reasonable time frame? And then we just kind of took Banjo out of Dream and then put him in the game that was eventually became Banjo.
It was kind of side on, but you could move in and out again, you know, so the path you were on kind of went in and out of the level.
They've still got that very much linear, you start here and then you progress along a level in a kind of a straight, reasonably linear fashion. It's the connecting piece between the Donkey Kong games we'd done before and then the Banjo game we did after.
It was jumping on things and you know, lots of kind of baddies and different things you could be doing.
One of our initial ideas was to kind of almost give Banjo this kind of almost like skater-esque look. I think he had a baseball cap and these kind of giant oversized skate shoes. As a result, we were trying to make some of his moves look like it was like kind of a skateboarding bear. I really don't know why. So that's kind of when he jumped, he kind of looked like he was doing a kind of a skateboarding move, but that didn't last long before we realised it was actually it wasn't that great an idea.
We restarted the project a few times, and on the fourth attempt to do that, we suddenly had impetus, there was direction, everybody was committed.
As soon as we saw an early version of the game that became Mario 64, it was like clearly our technology was like looked really old in comparison, and literally overnight we just thought that's going to be the future of what 3D games are going to look like.
So we scrapped the whole system we had for doing the side-ons thing.
And within a week, the first recognisable level of Banjo-Kazooie was on the screen.
We built our new fully 3D engine. We kind of created a test level, which commonly got known as a temple test level.
We started testing out proper sort of 3D levels.
We were developing the kind of moveset we wanted Banjo to have, and we wanted kind of a double jump, and that's where Kazooie came in.
We got, you know, the character jumping around and swimming and things, and it then went from Kazoo to Banjo-Kazoo. Once
we got the character and we built one level, which was to become Mumbo's Mountain, that kind of gave us the direction and the confidence that this is the game we want to make. We've got a theme, we've got a bad guy, and now it's just a matter of coming up with a load of kind of worlds that kind of fitted the game we wanted to make.
And it became Banjo-Kazooie, and then we just made that. We don't know at the time how these characters are going to end up, so, you know, in hindsight, Banjo and, you know, the bird and the bear was the right choice.
At the very start of Dream, we had this fairy tale take and then moved away from it and kind of went with a harder-edged, kind of more serious pirate thing, and then in the end we actually came back to kind of a fairy tale. The kind of story developed from there that the witch wasn't kind of pleased that Banjo's sister was better looking than her, so she just kidnapped her, and that gives us an excuse for Banjo to go off on his adventure.
It took us another 16 months to put Banjo-Kazooie out, and I think that's a project we were all very proud of.
I guess it was fate really that Rare would eventually create a game that's all about pirates. The big difference is that the pirates in Sea of Thieves are the players. The piratey things that go on between players in this world will be a result of the actions of the players in the game, not kind of us creating these fixed and linear and kind of scripted pirate experiences. It'll be players instead running off with the gold and all of that kind of stuff.
So there it is, the dream revealed. Like and subscribe for more behind the scenes features such as the making of Banjo-Tooie or the first sightings of our ultimate pirate adventure, the upcoming Sea of Thieves. Meanwhile, play 3 Banjo games right now in Rare Replay for Xbox One. Nice.